Well, I don't know if how well you guys can see, just kind of looking at my front door window thing here. Kind of a wet, nasty day here in good old South Central Kentucky. Got a little bit of a break from the rain right now, it looks, but the rain and storms are on their way back. So, figured I would take this day to kind of go over my vlogging setup. Okay. So if you guys watched the video that I did on the Joby Action Series suction cup locking arm thing, I mentioned that I wanted to start doing a thing where I, as a beginning moto vlogger, start kind of showcasing some products and things that I use and kind of give my opinions on them. So I figured today I'd kind of do like a grand overview on how I do my actual vlogging setup, like coming from a beginner's perspective. And then eventually I'll probably transition and maybe do individual reviews on each of these said products. But kind of before you is a haphazard display of various tools and stuff that I use, and we'll kind of start to go over each of those. First thing. This is my HJC, I believe it's an FG17 helmet. It's a really good helmet. It's actually, yeah, it is the FG17. It's DOT and Snell rated. These are actually, I know you see a lot of guys using icons and stuff, and for good reason, but as far as like actual impact protection and crash protection, these things are damn good helmets. They do tend to run a little bit small, so I would definitely, if you're looking into one, maybe go a size up from what you normally do. Like, I actually have to wear a 3X in this one, partially because my head is big as fuck, also partially because I know you guys haven't actually seen my face, but if you haven't noticed, like maybe my ponytail or hair flying around a couple times when I've turned in videos, got long as shit hair and it's super thick. So it definitely adds to my need for a little larger of a helmet. I am using a GoPro Hero 4 Silver. If you are interested in that particular camera, I actually got mine at Meijer of all places. They ended up having they had got some in, and then I guess they figured they weren't going to sell them and clearance tagged them like from the get-go. So I got a Hero 4 Silver. I think they had marked it down to like 190. And then if you're familiar with Meijer, they have this like M-Perks coupon program thing. And I ended up actually being able to use like an additional 10 or 15% off on it. So got a brand new Hero 4 Silver, just cheap as balls. The case I'm using is actually, I think it's Weeble, something like that. It's basically a skeleton case. So it's got, like on the back here, I've got the piece that is, it's got the thin piece where you can still use the touch screen, because the Hero 4 Silver does have the touch screen, which I personally like. And then it's actually got right here, this is actually carved out so that you can actually plug your microphone adapter into it. They're not bad. I'll try to scrounge up some links here and throw up some links for you guys if any of you should be interested in any particular item that I'm using. I think I paid like $22 for that, so not bad. I mean, it's built just as well as the actual GoPro cases. It's built incredibly well. Obviously, this one's not waterproof because it's cut for the microphone adapter and everything, but as far as using a skeletonized case for a motovlogging setup, it works really well, and I've had zero issues, and I've had the bike, I won't go into full details, but I've had it going relatively quickly, and I've had zero issues out of any of this. As you can see, I do have just a standard, like a side mount going on right here. We're mounted right here with just the standard GoPro. I think I used the curved mount. And then just this crazy piece like this that you actually get with the GoPro. So I didn't order any specific helmet mounts or anything crazy anyway. I just used literally what came with the GoPro, and it works just fine. I could have used just it does come with a few different mounting options. I could have used something simple and maybe done something on the front here like some guys do. This was just kind of a personal preference. I personally actually really like the side mount and like it on people's videos when you can like see the side of the helmet and stuff and then everything in front of them. It's just kind of a cool angle for me, so that's what I went for. Next big thing is going to be the actual microphone adapter, which is going to be very, very difficult to see as I've got it kind of taped on here. I'll try to find a picture or something to throw up of it, but it's just a simple little piece that's under here, under this tape, that the actual microphone, let's see if I can peel that back and show you that, yeah, that your actual microphone plugs into. Tap my screen here to get it to come on, see if you can see that in there. Trying to get a good angle for that, but it's just a simple little piece and your actual microphone plugs in right there. I'm probably going to actually pull it and mount just some like 3M outdoor adhesive under it as well. But then it just comes through and my microphone's plugged in there, and then this piece actually comes back here. And then once the GoPro's in, you will actually plug that into the GoPro. So like say this is closed and everything's there. You'll have a spot right there, and I literally just take that, plug it in, and that's the adapter that allows my GoPro to run a microphone. I'll try to throw up a link to this. Now, GoPro does make specific adapters for these, but depending upon where you find them, you're looking at anywhere from like 20 to 50 bucks. Don't do that. This is actually the one that Jake the Garden Snake recommends. I think most of my products are the stuff that he recommends, actually. I did reference his video a lot when doing my setup because I really liked his setup. I thought it sounded really good and really clean, and I wanted a very similar setup for myself. But anyway, it's a Chinese import, and I think I paid like $5 or $6 for this thing, and thus far it's just been incredible. It works super well. I'm glad I bought this instead of paying all the extra money for the GoPro one. You can't just use any particular one because there actually has to be a little chip inside here. And then it's I believe it's a 10 pin inside of there instead of a standard like 5. So what that does is that chip tells the GoPro that it is a microphone and to use that and to allow audio recording through the microphone, and then it mutes the actual internal microphones on the GoPro. This is the actual package for the adapter. Like I said, it is like a Chinese import adapter. So not really much of a package. It's SAMD something, I have no idea. I'll throw a link to it on Amazon. It's the 3.5 inch microphone something. Like I said, it's a Chinese import piece, but it does just fine. Once you come into here, you see where my microphone was plugged in. That's what all of this tape is. I know that looks so absolutely wonderfully professional. It's not actually necessarily mounting the microphone. All I've got that for is literally just hiding the microphone cable. I probably could have pulled the cheek pads and stuff and stuffed them up under there, but my helmet's dark enough and I had already spent the money on this Gorilla Tape, so it's kind of there, it keeps it there, everything's cool. Then we come up actually into the helmet, and it's going to be difficult to see the microphone itself because I do have the fuzz wrapped around it. I'm going to trim and kind of redo some of that fuzz a little bit. All that is basically some faux fur, like some faux craft fur, that just uses to kind of make a wind buffer and knock out some of the wind. If you've watched any of my other videos where I've actually got the helmet on and I'm on the bike, I don't do any, because I am terrible at editing, I don't do any type of post-editing audio manipulation or anything. That's literally just the sound from the microphone. I'm sure once I get good and actually learn how to edit, I could absolutely clean that up a little bit and make it sound even better. But the microphone, which I will show you here in a second, it's a Sony. It's actually it's a stereo mic, which also just so happens to be the one that Jake the Garden Snake recommends. As you can see, I've got it taped up right where the actual cording comes in right here, and then the tape, and then the microphone itself is actually right here, and I've got it kind of set into the cheek. The only other thing about these HJC helmets is they don't have a lot of room right here. I could actually, if I really wanted to make a pouty kissy face, I could touch the front of this helmet. So not a lot of room for microphone, but it tucks right here into the cheek guard very nicely, and it works for me. All right, So the actual microphone itself, Sony ECM-CS3, I guess that's the, somebody's messaging me. The microphone, you can get these on Amazon for about 20 bucks. You can also pick them up. Most Best Buys carry them. A really good microphone. It's a stereo mic. You can always, if you really want to get into like some audio manipulation, like in your editing and like post-processing and whatnot, you can just run it as mono. It does actually come with a clip on the microphone, but I literally just took my pocket knife, wedged it in between the clip and the microphone, kind of rocked it back and forth very gently, and was able to pop that clip off no problems. And I just used some standard 3M mounting tape to mount that to the inside of the helmet. And then for the actual camera itself, and then how I do the fur and stuff, it's just some standard 3M outdoor mounting adhesive. It's, I think, the more permanent stuff. It's not bad. I think it's like $6 a roll, but this roll will last you for, God, like forever. Fun story. So I actually ordered one of these off of Amazon. So it came in, and I was attempting to measure my fur, which you see sitting back there, to actually, and the way I mounted it is I actually used a strip of this where I wanted to mount it, and then measured out where the microphone would go, and actually cut a chunk of fur with the microphone shape, the actual microphone shape cut out. And then I actually measured a piece of fur to wrap around the microphone, sans the point where it was going to actually mount to the tape. I go to snip the fur, and I cut through the cable. Then I got back on Amazon and was like, well, damn, I've really been trying to get into this moto vlogging thing. My stuff's here. I'm ready to do it. Let's see how quickly I can set one up.
Looks like I got a message.
And then, hey, more messages. Anyway, so I cut through it, and it actually has like an optic cable in there, so you can't splice it. So Amazon, it was going to be a few weeks before they had them in stock. I was like, well, I saw it at my local Best Buy, which is like 3 miles from my house. So I was like, all right, we're going to head down to Best Buy, check it out. And Best Buy had sold the one that I had seen. So I looked around on Best Buy's website, just kind of see if any of the Best Buys near me had them. Turns out the Best Buy up in Owensboro, which is about an hour north of Bowling Green, actually had a couple in stock. So I went up there, and in case I did something stupid and screwed one up again or something, I went ahead and bought 2 of them. This giant thing of fur, which good day will probably cover my vlogging setups, and once my girlfriend is able to get her bike and get her helmet set up for vlogging and everything, probably do hers as well. I think that was, God, that's probably a lifetime supply, and I think I paid like $1.90 for it at Walmart. Just hit up your local Walmart there and check that out. It's good stuff. You can get Walmart, if you've got like a Hobby Lobby, a Michael's, or anything that sells fabric near you, you can find that stuff, and you don't need much. Just remember that it's going to be actually really wide, so when they ask how much you want, just get like the minimum amount that they can sell you. The lady at Walmart said that they could sell me as little as 1 inch. I wasn't thinking. I said 6, so now I have 6 inches wide, 4 or 6, something like that. Yeah, 6. And this friggin' stupid long chunk of craft fur that will get everywhere. Sometimes it's difficult to differentiate between that and the husky fur in the house. Anyway, as far as batteries go, I am using this Wasabi Power. Now they make them, I think this particular one I've got, they make them for all sorts of GoPros. You just have to let them know which one you want. And it's just this little base, and you get 2 batteries, and it's a rechargeable base, and then it comes with just the standard cord for it. And then all I have done is taken this old wall adapter, not super old, just a few years, from an old Samsung charger, and plugged it into this so that I can just plug it into the wall, and it works just fine. I've heard some people say, oh, you can't do that, you fry your battery. No, No, you can do it just fine. And then there are some people, especially on Amazon, that'll talk about these Wasabi powers. They're not reliable, or they have garbage battery life or anything. Believe it or not, I actually get better life out of these than I do the actual GoPro battery that came with the camera. They're just as reliable, and I get probably a good hour and a half recording 1080p, 60 frames a second wide on my GoPro. I'll run about an hour and a half after the actual GoPro battery. I'll run a good hour and 45 minutes, maybe even I've gotten close to 2 hours out of these. And that's similar conditions, similar weather conditions, obviously the temperature and everything, recording conditions, continuous recording, not just stop and go and stop and go and stop and go. These work super well. They fit perfect. There are definitely a few negative reviews on Amazon about them, but a couple people recommended these, and I would absolutely recommend them. And then one GoPro battery will run you, like $20-$30. It's a good $40 or $50 to get the one that you get an extra battery and the charge base. This was like $15 or $20, and it was for 2 batteries and the charge base and this cable. Like I said, I just took this from an old Samsung phone charger, which you could use pretty much any wall outlet, just about, or a wall adapter, and you plug just the USB portion into it, and boom, you can charge it on the wall, no problem. That's kind of it, guys. I mean, that's kind of how I run my setup. Like I said, with the microphone, you'll find a good way. I'm not gonna like do an actual mounting setup. I don't have any like an extra helmet or anything that I want to mount up or get anything ready for. But that's just kind of how I've got mine. If any of you guys out there are actually really good at doing this and know something that I could be doing better, or doing things to make it easier on myself, obviously I'm just now kind of doing this, so kind of getting into it. I've just been doing it for a few months now, so if any of you guys have tips, I'm obviously open to suggestions. Or if any of you guys are just kind of getting into it and want another beginner's kind of how I did it, or if you're having trouble with something, I would be happy to answer any questions that anyone has. Even with my limited experience, I've made this setup work just fine. So if you're trying to do something similar, let me know. I will try to throw some links to all that stuff down in the description as what I can find. And aside from that, that's kind of it. Take it easy, guys. Catch you guys next time.